So yesterday they had the investiture ceremony and everything, and we had the pictures you handing over the gavel. What was going through your mind with that?
Just how quick it seems that time has moved on, but handing over the gavel is, I had mixed emotions. One is it's time. I've been around for 20 years on council and 5 years on the school board. It was time, but sometimes, to be honest with you, you want to give it away, but you feel like, well, I need to. It's something about that authority that you have that just doesn't come easy. So, but I wanted to send the new mayor off with a good feeling that he's going to be successful. I think he will, and I was glad to see the two former mayors. Well, one mayor is currently Mayor Gross from Benton, and then Ralph Smith was a former mayor here, and just wanted to make a little celebration. But it was, again, it's like you've built on something and now you've gotten about as far as you can go, and you're going to turn it over. So it was that type of feeling, but a good feeling overall in terms of the people that's going to be taking over. I think they're going to do a good job. I reminded them that campaigning, you don't have to see the checkbook. You can just say what you're going to do and how you're going to do things. But when you get in council, you got to look at the checkbook in terms of the budget and those things. And those are challenges that all elected officials face. And so, but I wish them well. And they seem to be a very talented, educated group. So I just think it's going to work out, and hopefully they'll keep moving Roanoke forward.
What are you most proud of in your time in public service?
That we've been able to make some things happen in our city. I think, you heard me say that we're an 8-time All-American city. That's fine, but I think I'm most proud of so many things, but probably the way our city has come together to do things, the way we dealt with COVID-19, how we dealt with it in terms of bringing people together, keeping our community advised, being transparent, and the collaboration that we have. Collaboration with our city officials, regional officials, and the communications. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that as mayor, I signed off with Salem and Roanoke County on some land that we're going to get, Woodhaven land, an industrial park that's going to, I think, bring benefits for years to come. I was part of that. I bridged the gap, I feel, between Roanoke City and the region. I think one of the things I put a lot of emphasis on is we got to work together as a region, and I'm sure you've heard this statement a lot, but we can do more together. And that's something that I encourage my colleagues, former colleagues, to make sure they keep that attitude, that approach, because we can. I'm pleased with being in office and the mayor and to start a domestic violence task force in 2005, which is, I think we've really reaped some benefits from that. And it was a task force comprised of not only law enforcement, the Commonwealth Attorney was on that task force, the Chief of Police, but lay citizens. And I always, in any committee that I form, I want lay citizens. I just don't want the professionals to be that. But that task force enabled us to do some things, and we got some funds, some grant funds, and which we've been able to maintain now, to have a section of our police department that just deals with domestic violence. And that occurred back in '05 when there was really a lot of violence against women in our city. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the way we work with young people, our youth, in the community, get them to know police officers. We had the Lee Youth Outdoor Basketball program, and it wasn't about throwing the basketballs out during the summer. Every day that we would meet, and it was a couple of times we'd meet, we'd have somebody from the community, such as if a reporter was here, I'd want you to come out and speak to that group before we start basketball to talk about your life. How did you get to where you are? Was it easy? Was it difficult? How did it happen? What did you do to make it happen? I wanted them to do that and to hear that, because our emphasis was on being good people, being good character. Character still counts. And that was something that we drilled for the 7 years we had that camp over in Melrose Park. And there's a reason we had it in that particular area of the city, because it was a high crime area. So I could go on and on. I'm so pleased and pleased that we had the school that we started, the medical school here with Carilion and Virginia Tech. Our partnership with Virginia Tech has been very important. We want to continue to do that. And of course, Carilion, and I've got to mention her name, even though she probably wouldn't like me to do that. But I'm just so thankful for our relationship with Nancy there at the hospital. She's been a special person to work with, and I'm just so proud of that and what we've done.
You've talked about, some of these things, but, how has Roanoke changed in your time, particularly 20 years on the council? And, do you think it's a better place than when you first entered public service?
I think it's changed. I feel it has become even a much more progressive city. When you think about the things that we do and we recognize here in our city, when you look at this building that we're in now, it's named after Mayor Noel Taylor. When you walk across the street to the courthouse, it's named after Oliver Hill, a prominent black attorney that was part of the Board of Education action back in the 50s, who was a native here. And then right across the street, we got Henrietta Lacks, a statue of Henrietta Lacks. And sometimes people take it for granted, we have a statue of Dr. Martin Luther King in our city. I think if you look at the officials in our city, we've had sheriffs, African-American sheriffs, probably the last 3, I think, have been African-Americans. We've had a female sheriff. Our superintendents have been African-Americans. Our mayor is African-American. Our vice mayor has been African-American, at least 2 of them. And so I think it's progressive. I think the people in the community work together. And what has impressed me more than anything else is that when we had to decide what we were going to do with the $64 million COVID money that we got, with ARPA money, we did something that not many cities did, and we were cited for it by the National Civic League, that we brought about 36 citizens. Each council member chose 2 to 3 people to put on this task force to let's look at how we're going to spend this money. It wasn't a closed door meeting. It wasn't going in and let us just decide. We want the citizens to have say in this. And so, and I always will always be pleased and encouraged by the work that Bob Cowell did to bring this group together, and myself and Trish Wright Board chaired that committee. And what they did, we decided after meetings and discussions, and we said, okay, we're now ready to spend the money, and this is what we're going to do. That committee decided that the first thing we should do, our first priority, should be serve or help the underserved community. That's where we spend it. Go in and see what other things we need. Let's try to repair that or fix that with this money. I think that says something about this community. The doctors, lawyers, the diversity of races that were there, it tells you something about that. And I'm proud of that. And I've seen that change since I've been here. And I moved to the city in 1992. And that's a change, and that's something. So it's those things that make you proud. You can talk about it, but you go out and see it in action. It tells me that some of the things that we're trying to do in our community to make it a better community is working. It's working for people, you know. And sometimes we have some very, really tenderous and angry council meetings, but it seems as though the message gets across, and so I'm proud of that. And it tells you a lot about our city and where we're headed. And that's why I always say I think we're a city that's moving forward with what we're doing, and I'm just proud of that, and proud that I had an opportunity to be the mayor, to lead the city through some challenging times. But we made it, we did it well, and we weren't able to do some things that we wanted to do, but we didn't lay anybody off. We kept things going as best we can with COVID. And that was a tough time. People sit back now and say, oh yeah, we went through it. But I'd get those reports from the medical profession about the hospitals, respirators being full, hospitals being full, respirators are limited. And that was a concern. It was a concern, but we came through it, and so I'm pleased with the leadership of the city and my colleagues on council.
Any regrets or anything that you would have liked to have done and that you hope could be done, in the forthcoming administrations?
Well, I think some of the zoning issues that we had were tough, were difficult. Some people did not understand why. I think the majority of council voted for that because we felt that we needed change. We have to change with the times now. And if we want to be a city that invites young people, that invites families to come in, we have to change the zoning principles. We can't do it unless we change the zoning. And we made a great effort to do that. And I personally wish that had came off a little bit better. Evans Springs is something that I think we were doing what we thought was the right thing to do, and I still feel that way. I think those are two things that it wasn't popular, but I think it was necessary to talk about it. I think it's in all the professionals that we talked about and talked to felt that we did the right thing, and people failed to remember that the property, and Evans Springs property, doesn't belong to us. And so we have negotiated something, and that's a big part of what we do to try to work, to try to bring, to try to get a compromise out of that. And what we did was, which we didn't need a compromise, but the owner was willing to do that. And so we think that's going to work out, but I wish it would have went a little smoother in that. And let me take you way back down the line. All right, I'm so proud of our schools that we got. We got 2 high schools now, and they have their stadiums and things there. But I still have a place in my heart for Victory Stadium. I think it meant something. It was an icon in this city, and it almost created a civil war. But we got that done. But that was something I was a little disappointed in, and that was my first big loss on council in terms of that, because there was some passionate people about that. And so, but as you learn in the political field that you have to move on. If people, how they feel, and we had the votes, we thought we had the votes and didn't have the votes, but you got to pick up and go, and that's why, again, I commend the city, and I commend the leaders who we felt that it was necessary to and it was a good thing to get the 2 high schools built and to have their own athletic fields. But Victory Stadium is still special. And I see people today, older citizens, that talk about what Victory Stadium meant to them. And so we moved on from it. But every now and then you sit back and think about what would have happened if we had kept that stadium here and those kinds of things. But that's how it goes. So I'm pleased.
So I'll ask you here, one, do you have any more advice for your successor in this office and the people who are going to be serving the city?
To lead as He should make sure that he's compassionate, which I feel he is, but there are going to be some difficult decisions that he's going to make, and there will be times when you feel like you're the only one in this building that has a vision to go for it, and you have to stand on that. But there'll be times you won't be able to explain that to your friends. There'll be times that you won't be able to reconcile with some people. They're just not going to do that. And there'll be times when you're going to make some decisions that will affect your friends and family for the most part. But you have to go ahead and make that decision. And I think this council, especially the ones that I've worked with, know that. And so I wish them well. And I think we're going to be in good hands. There's some challenges, but I think we're leaving a good foundation. It's a good foundation to build on. And as many people know, that oftentimes as council, you have a vision and you work on, your vision is down the road, like the Wasena Bridge, Franklin's Bridge. I won't be in this position when that's completed, but you started to push for it, and the foundation is set. And that's why I think a lot of things are in place now. And I do believe that, decision to do that zoning and those kinds of things will in time show itself to be the right decision as we go forward.
What's next for you?
Probably do some work with my son. My son, Sherman Lea Jr., is in the mental health business. I'll do some things with him, and I have a small company, SP Lea LLC, and maybe do some consultant work. But I tell you, I'm going to take a month or so off and just realize and find out what it's like to get up and not have a meeting to get to, or just try to figure out what you're going to do for the day. I don't get many of those times. I haven't gotten them over the years. But it's somewhat exciting, but I'm sure I'll miss the people here. And we had a good working relationship. So, but I'll be around. I'll still be a citizen here in the community, and I just I look forward to that. And then follow my grandkids. I got 4 grandkids, 2 of them in college. 1 is on the way, and so I'll follow them. They're very active in sports. Good academic students. They're preparing to go to dental school and to be a physical therapist, and so they're juniors at Radford. So there'll be some things to do. I want to go to track meets and follow them. I promised them I'll do that, so I can go now and take my time. I don't have to worry about getting back for a meeting. So I look forward to that.
All right, Mayor. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.